Welcome to What's Up, Bolts? I'm Fernando Ramirez. That sunglass don and hat
What?
wearing son of a
What?
gun is
What?
Dan and Daygo. And look at him. He's wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt.
What?
So
What?
you
What?
know that means he must be excited and in a good mood. Obviously, we've kind of been off for a little bit since probably about mini camp let out about a month and a half ago. But Dan, training camp is upon us. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. I finally got my core, or not to mention my team, but I finally got my team gear from the team I'm coaching this year. Almost let that one out of the bag. Everybody knows I'm a little bit of a private person. So I'm excited. It's a good day. Saw an old friend today, as you will know, Frown. Shout out to Carlos. Shout out the OG from Long Beach. So it's been a good day. I can't complain so far.
There you go. Yeah, no, I saw a
How
friend
are
from
you doing? You're
college.
right. How rude of me, Frown. How are you doing? Are you okay?
You almost reminded me of somebody else. My
A
my co-host.
scumbag, a stooge.
No, no. We love this is a pro. This is a pro
Bro,
go Hilberto show.
show.
Yeah, no, it was
We're
good
gonna
to
get
see
a text
Carlos.
later. Not even 2 minutes in, and we had a crap on him.
I hadn't seen Carlos in a while. It was good to see an old friend from college. So, definitely good to see him. But obviously, Dan, like we mentioned, training camp is upon us. A lot of storylines, a lot of things going on. Obviously, folks, go and check out before training camp even got started. We went and talked to Austin Eckler at Carlsbad High School in San Diego County. If you guys go through my Twitter mentions and just see these people that just they want to outsmart you. They think that they're smarter than you. They're like, because I put it's north of San
Monday morning
Diego.
quarterbacks, Frown.
It's north of San Diego, and people are like, it's in the county of San Diego, thinking I'm an LA reporter or something like that. I'm like, I told the guy I grew up in San Diego. Obviously, I know it's north of the city of San Diego. It's North County. So
It's a
obviously, people.
technicality. Who the hell?
Oh,
We're
I
not
know,
on
but
the
you know how
we're not on the OJ Simpson trial. We don't care about technicalities right
it
here.
is
We're
so
just trying
funny
to.
how just people try and one up you, and it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're like, dude, get out of here. Like,
I'm gonna
go,
get
yeah,
him.
yeah, I know. Oh, yeah,
I'm gonna get
exactly.
him.
Yeah. So it's just dumb, but a lot of so we talked to Austin, and Austin said that the team knows that they have expectations on them, that they want to come out here, they want to perform, that there's a lot that obviously the team knows that they're. He said, "I feel like what he said basically that he feels like they know that he's playing. They're playing for their jobs, that they need to come out, that they need to play hard and
Every year's a new
everything.
year.
So,
Rents due every year,
yeah,
dude.
yeah, every year's a new year, like you said, and it's gonna be interesting. But what did you kind of take away from the Austin Eckler interview?
I think more
Oh,
than
my bad.
anything.
And folks, go see it. It's on What's Up Bolts. It's on COMPAS on the
What?
Beat.
What?
Whichever one of those you guys want to check out, go check it out. It's a good interview with him, and obviously Austin talks about growing up and how he had a Carmelo Anthony poster that inspired him, and he hopes that
Relating to
what
some of the
his camp,
kids.
yeah, he hopes that that's what his camp does for other people. But go ahead, Dan. What did you think?
I was going to say, basically, what I took away from it. Obviously, we try to get a little bit of the running back talk going, but he was more than anything just excited to be at the camp. Honestly, I think sometimes it's overlooked or understated. I don't want to say how good it feels because, like, obviously, then that means you're trying to make yourself feel good, but just helping out other people. Especially in his position, being an NFL player and all that. Those kids are going to walk away probably wanting Austin Eckler jerseys and having a memory for a lifetime that they were at a camp where Austin Eckler was at and he was cool and everything. So I think more than anything, that's just what it was. He was excited to be there with the kids, trying to be a positive influence and role model. And we know society can use them today. So shout out to him, honestly, hosting a camp and everything. It was packed, Frown. We saw a lot of people there.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I completely agree. The line was across. I mean, I remember when you and I and Eric Williams, good friend,
Shout out.
friend of the show, he compa,
Sir Eric.
he when we showed up, we're like, whoa, like there was a lot of people. It was crazy. Uh, I I honestly was wondering. I wonder what's gonna happen here. Is there gonna be a lot of people? What's gonna like? You just never know. But yeah, a lot. And Dan, it wasn't just a lot of people; it was a lot of powder blue.
Yeah,
And
a lot of
Austin
Charger
said,
fans.
"Hey, wherever we can get fans, we'll take them." And I know we have a great San Diego following, and they do. And I know for stooges out there who say, "Oh, they're dead in San
Better
Diego,"
be
no, they're
careful.
not.
You're
They're
gonna be talking about somebody's boy over here. We always talk about him.
well, there's a lot of Charger fans still in San Diego. It's there, and people think that they're all gone and they're quiet. Is there a market for the Chargers in San Diego? Yes, there is. Dan and I see them. We go up to the stadium on Sundays. We turn and we look on the freeway, and Dan and I are going up at 7:30 in the morning,
Yep.
and we see powder blue all the way up to the stadium. So yeah, there's still a huge positive here. I think I think this is how it goes. A lot of love, indifferent, and the haters that they spew their crap and everything.
Yeah.
So I really think that there's not that many people who hate them as much as what
Those
people
just might
think.
be the loudest, if anything.
Yeah, because the other people are just quiet and just do their thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always the loudest people that get heard. I mean, no matter what no matter what you're in or what you do, it's always the loud people.
It is what
But
it
it's
is.
always about how everybody else takes it, and it seems like there is still a big following. But definitely an interesting. Go check that out. We talked to Austin, so make sure you guys go check that out. And he even talks about a little bit about the running back situation. He just like we want ourselves and our boys, which is the rest of the running backs, to get compensated. There is a group chat between all the running backs, and they're talking about what's the best way to go at this. Obviously, Josh Jacobs,
Interesting.
Saquon Barkley, and Tony Pollard were all franchise tagged. Neither one of them received a long-term deal. I think I heard from the rumblings that Tony Pollard will show up to camp. All indications are from multiple media outlets that neither Saquon nor Josh Jacobs is going to report to camp. So that'll be interesting.
Little camp drama.
Exactly. So let's see. So obviously camp happens. I wasn't here last year for camp. It was definitely interesting to kind of be away for the first year ever. I was still out in Indiana at that time, but it was interesting to see from afar. Now I'm obviously back. I will be at camp. So if you guys are there, make sure you come over, say hi. I'll definitely say hi, chit chat with people. I love doing that.
Exactly. Shout out, dude. Shout out to all you guys.
So it'll definitely be cool to see some fans that I haven't seen in a while, some Charger fans. But Dan, obviously with training camp coming up, I feel like, I don't know your take. I feel like the Charger kind of flying under the radar a little bit this offseason. I think it's because I saw somebody, Bleacher Report or one of those, they did their projection of how many wins the Chargers were going to have over or under 9.5. They put under, they're like, the Chargers didn't do anything during free agency, and all they did was sign Eric Kendricks, and they've had a quiet offseason, so not much can be expected from them. But then I kind of took a step back, and I'm like, wait, but they already had really good pieces around them, and it's just, if they stay healthy, they should be able to be better than what they were last year. I don't know what you think, but I mean, if Joey plays the whole season, if their core guys are there, I think that they should be in for a surprising season, because I'm telling you, I don't think a lot of people are rating them that high like they were the last 2 years maybe. I think this year they're kind of flying under the radar.
Well, yeah, but like that's to be expected. I mean, elephant in the room, the way you get checked out of the playoffs, that's obviously going to, linger into the offseason and everything else, be at the forefront of people's minds. I bet you anything, when they talk about training camp this year, one of the first questions these stooge pundits, I was about to say blue checkmark brigade, but you know already, Fernando, that doesn't mean much anymore. One of the first questions they're probably going to be asking, which is fair, tough, and everything else, how are the Chargers going to get over the hump of last year? Like, how are they going to get that bad taste out of their mouths and make sure they're not still reeling from that and everything else? Because, in all honesty, talking about it right now, as you were mentioning that, I think last year they got 9 wins, and they were missing their number
10.
one, number 2. They got 10. They got 10 wins, and missing their number 1 and number 2 wide receivers, I would say half, if not most of the season. So that in and of itself was a pretty wild objective. So it's going to be pretty tough. I think they have I think they're obviously flying under the radar, because you compare last year, trading for Khalil Mack, signing J.C. Jackson, and other things like that. Like obviously they made a splash last year compared to this year. So yeah, I think they're just flying under the radar because, like I said, the only reason they've been in the news or when they talk about them most likely is just talking about that Jacksonville game, which is obviously a tough thing to get over. So I mean, yeah, I think it's always, well, you know what? No, I kind of, there's an old Rex Ryan clip from when he was on Hard Knocks, and I think it's excellent. I honestly absolutely love his quote. He essentially says, you should never want to be flying under the radar. He says you want to be on top of the damn thing because you expect to be great. You expect to be chasing it. You expect to be in, late January playing still and stuff like that. Obviously, it didn't work out like that, but I think it's a very good quote that in the sense that you want to be the guys who are always in the picture, like the Chiefs are today. They've counted the Chiefs out a while since they got rid of Tyreek and stuff like that, but they've always managed to come back, and the expectations are so high that they're only going to demand excellence. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens this year, starting with camp. So I don't know what you think, but that's basically where I'm at. It's like it's been quiet off season. Obviously, they're flying under the radar because they haven't made the news, and I think a lot of people still have Jacksonville fresh in their minds.
Yeah, I mean, people do, but I don't know. The players just kind of feel like they're over it.
Oh well, yeah, the players are something else.
They're kind of like, okay, can we stop talking about it and everything? So, so I feel like they're. I don't know how I want to say this, but I just feel like the players are kind of over it, and they're kind of like, all right, like let's keep on going, let's get stuff done, and I think I know what you're real quick. Are you talking about this speech?
Oh, did you find the clip?
No, I didn't. I found this clip though.
Oh,
make sure we play like the New York Jets and not some slap team. That's what I want to see tomorrow. Do we understand what the I want to see tomorrow? Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Dude, honestly,
and the first one racing out of the room.
This is a debate for another day. I would love to see what you guys think in the comments. That, I think it was 2010 Jets Hard Knocks. I don't think there's been anything better. I think that was one of the best ones. Rex Ryan's well, actually, Dan Campbell's pretty good too last year. But just that whole team, because then you remember they had Plexico holding out, or not Plexico.
No, Revis.
Yeah. They had Revis holding out.
Remember, this was interesting too. Rex Ryan was the one doing the head count at night. He was doing room checks.
Yeah, he was.
And he goes into Darrelle Revis's room. He goes, Revis.
Yeah.
Revis, are you here?
Come on, buddy. Come home.
He's like, he's not here. But my bad. Going back to it. The players are over it. They're done talking about it. They just want to just want to get back to work. And that's the thing. How are you? When are folks going to forget about the Jacksonville game? I'll tell you when. Week 1 against the Miami Dolphins. As soon as that ball gets kicked off, that's when they'll stop talking about that game against Jacksonville. And some people probably right now are like, "What are you talking about?" No, it's maybe the first day of training camp or the first preseason game. No. It's until Justin Herbert and that offense get back on that field. Derwin James and that defense. Because I'm telling you right now, I'd be surprised if any of these guys play preseason games. That hasn't been Brandon Staley's MO the last 2 years. And I don't think he diverts from that. I don't think any of these guys should play, especially because, I mean, Herbert, I think what they'll do though, like people are like, oh, Quentin Johnson. I think Quentin Johnson will play, but it'll be like Rashawn Slater, the first drive. And then, all right, let's yank them. Like, there's no need to see more. Back to that though, I'm interested. I mean, I want to see what I can't wait to be back in the training camp mode. Like I said, I wasn't in it last year. It'll be interesting to see kind of what.
Hot as hell. I hope you're hydrated and you got your sunscreen. Hot as hell, dude.
Oh my God, I know.
I remember the first, I think, training camp we went up there. Or one of them, we were with some friends. I forgot my sunscreen, and it was probably one of the hottest days. And I remember when we went to Five Guys with them after, you were like, holy crap, you guys look like crabs or whatever, or lobsters. We were so red.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy, dude. It gets hot. It gets hot up there.
And that's what I tell people. I'm like, it really does get hot. Like, people are like, oh, no. And I'm like, no, like, you need to be hydrated. You need to be
Yeah.
ready to go, because if not,
That's the big
sun,
one. 'Cause I
that
think,
sun catches up to you.
yeah, I think some people sometimes pass out or get a little loop-de-loop because they're not hydrated, and that's the biggest thing. You have to stay hydrated. So if you guys are going to training camp, a little advice from your boy Dan and Daygo: please drink a gallon of water the day before at least.
Yeah, no, and I mean that's the thing, is that's what I noticed, that people are really like, it just gets really hot. You have to be really vigilant of your hydration, because it catches up on you. And I remember I was one of those that, like, back in the day, like a couple of years ago, it was cloudy one training camp practice or two, and I didn't wear any sunscreen either one of those days. And oh my God, I was cooking. But let's get to it. Obviously, let's just get it out of the way. As of right now, Justin Herbert has not signed a new contract. Folks, by the way, when that does happen, Dan and Daygo and I will be jumping on and talking about it and breaking it all down. But as of right now, he has not signed that extension. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe during training camp they get it done. We will be asking, though. I'm sure the first day it is going to be asked. It'll be asked. So, but definitely be on the lookout for that. If they do sign the contract extension, obviously, it'll be interesting to see what the amount is. Obviously, I've heard a lot of different things from you've heard a lot of things about it from a lot of different people. I know Florio the other day was floored because he heard that the word team friendly coming from or just about Herbert and about Burrow, that maybe team friendly contracts. And he's like, whoa, what's going on? No. It's like, well, here, I mean, Patrick Mahomes honestly signed a team friendly deal. So, and like we've always said, I've told Gilbert, I've told everybody this, that as soon as Herbert and Burrow are done signing, I think
Mahomes is next.
Mahomes will sign his, and then the market gets reset, and I think we go back down a little bit. But yeah, Justin Herbert, I'm sure if it doesn't get done during training camp, it's going to be really interesting. But I'm interested to see kind of what happens moving forward with him. Obviously, he's a guy that I feel like he just wants to play. He doesn't care about anything outside of that. He just wants to play. I don't think he's a guy fixated. I mean, his predecessor, I feel like everybody thought that his predecessor, Phillip Rivers, was like all about just, I want to play.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. I don't think so either. Yeah.
He just really just doesn't care about anything and just wants to play football. And obviously, I think Justin has been itching for it, because remember, he threw, but he didn't do as much during offseason and conditioning and all that stuff as he normally does because of the shoulder surgery. I know he did stuff. Here go people. I'm waiting for people to go, all right, well, he did stuff. No, I know, but he just didn't rev up the way he usually does. So training camp, I'm sure he said it. He's like, I think by training camp, I'll be a full go. So that is going to be interesting to see how that happens. But as of right now, obviously, no contract has been done. I'm sure that I'm still advocating that he needs an advocate to talk for him, and Dan and Daygo would be a perfect one. It'd be like this. It'd be kind of sort of like this.
Exactly.
It'd be there. Paul Heyman is Dan and Daygo. Roman Reigns is
Wise Man. Yeah, exactly.
This is my camera. I run it. Oh.
That's right. Just like the son of Odin, the GOAT, the young GOAT of the league.
Justin Herbert should turn heel. That would just.
I was going to tell you when you were talking about his contract and all that. I was about like, Fernando, are you sure it's not the villain origin story right now? What's happening?
Can you imagine if Justin Herbert just went out? Because we've seen it. Hey, we've seen the way Mahomes is on quarterback on Netflix. We've seen the way he trash talks. Can you imagine if Justin Herbert is just like, "Can't no man knock me," and he just like he pulls a Roman Reigns and he's out there like the tribal chief and he's barking at everybody.
He's gonna be like Vince Vaughn in what's it called, Wedding Crashers. I'm all state. I can put the ball wherever I want.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
you worry.
Exactly. But can you imagine? He's just like, "Can't no man knock me out." Like,
I
It would
love
be
him. The
it'd be
goat.
incredible to see a heel turn.
The
I'm telling you,
goat.
you could be his advocate. You as soon like you can hold his Pepsi trophy from Rookie of the
Exactly.
Year. You could
Exactly.
hold
I'll
maybe
hold
his
it
MVP.
like I'll
Maybe
hold his
hold his
brisket on the other
MVP,
one for now. I'll hold the brisket.
or maybe his MVP trophy from this year. Like you
I
never
don't care about the
know.
MVP. Get a Super Bowl.
But yeah, so obviously let's start with Justin Herbert. This is going into his 4th year. Justin obviously has I think exceeded expectations as the quarterback. Last year he was banged up. He still put up big numbers
Missing receivers.
for the Chargers. He still put up numbers for the Chargers. I expect that this year to go up, honestly, considerably. I think, especially like one of the things to watch for, I think, is Kellen Moore and Justin Herbert. I'm interested to see kind of what this offense is going to look like. And folks, I know that there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, by training camp we can see what kind of offense is going to be." No, you don't see it until the games. A lot of times they're
Week
hiding
one.
stuff. They're doing different things. It's a
Yeah,
kind
you
of
know, no
vanilla.
one puts anything in preseason.
It's vanilla at times, but even
Yeah.
during training camp, people are like, "Oh, I figured out this offense or this." And no, it doesn't happen until you see it in the games. I remember. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like,
I've seen 800 hours of film. Let me tell you how this is gonna go.
You know what? You know where I got that from, Dan? It was a couple of years ago when we didn't know anybody. And I mean, people can say whatever they want. Some people will say, "Oh, I knew Justin Herbert was going to be that good." No, stop. Like half of the and I'm not just talking about fans. I'm talking about everybody in general. But I remember some of you. I kept receipts. Some of you were when I announced that they were drafting. No, what? We should have got Isaiah Simmons. I know some of you out there, but
train, honestly, that's the one I couldn't believe. I called that one out for a while.
Hey, I told you guys, once we get to about 700 or 800 or subscribers on here, I'll release a video of Dan and Daygo watching Tua Tagovailoa get drafted.
Oh my God, you need to stop.
And if we get to 1,000, one lucky viewer will be having lunch with Dan and Daygo, alcohol not included.
You need to stop, fool. Stop trying to. I'm not that interesting. I swear.
No, he's very interesting. Ask Eric Williams. Eric Williams knows.
He lies. He tries to prop me up. I'm not.
Jeff
even like
Miller decided to not fly to the Super Bowl. He decided to take a train down to San Diego, get picked up by us, and drive out to Arizona because you are that interesting.
Shout out to Sir Jeffrey. Miss you,
but going back to it, I can't wait to see just the development and how this is going to go with Kellen Moore, Justin Herbert. Obviously, they had a little bit of a relationship filming those commercials a couple of years ago for that auto insurance, but that's one aspect that I'm really interested to see kind of how that grows because obviously Shane Steichen did a great job with Justin. Joe Lombardi kind of held the offense kind of back a little bit. I think his play calling. I think he felt like he was still the OC or the quarterback coach for a 40-year-old quarterback that didn't have that his arm was gone. Yeah, I mean, it was I don't know, it's just interesting. But with Justin, or with Kellen Moore, I feel like he's kind of that more of that younger generation, that new age coach. He's he's 1 foot away from becoming a head coach pretty soon. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But Dan, what do you think about Kellen Moore and Herbert?
Honestly, for now, I know this is probably going to disappoint. I really don't have anything to say because obviously I've said it before on this show or regular COMPAS. I think if he, I think he had 10 win seasons the whole time he was in Dallas. If he could do that with Dak, who I don't care what stupid Madden has to say that they're the same supposedly in their ratings, manure. I think Justin Herbert's light years ahead of Dak. So if he could do that with Dak, I'm expecting a lot more when he comes here with the son of Odin. But it's like we talked about, like we're not going to see anything until week 1 against the Dolphins. And you know what? Now that we bring this up, this is going to be a perfect challenge because he's going to be facing off against Vic Fangio's the OC, right?
Yeah.
Or the DC.
No, the DC.
The DC. Yeah, sorry. And I think that's going to be an excellent matchup right there to begin with because the Denver teams he had offensively were terrible. Defensively, always beat the hell out of us. They were always a tough matchup, especially in the Mile High. So, over there they got some weapons on defense. They traded for Bradley Chubb and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to see like that. That's the only time I'm going to tell you kind of like, all right, this is what we're going to get, or this is looking good or bad, because like I said, preseason doesn't matter. Training camp doesn't matter. It's going to be until week 1 comes up. Everybody's strapped up. The anthem's played. Now let's get on with it. Let's get on with the fight, dude.
One big key is going to be health. The Chargers lost
Every year.
Austin Johnson. They lost Joey Bosa for part of the season.
Yeah.
They
Keenan
lost
Allen, Mike.
Christian Covington. They lost
Yeah.
a lot of firepower. The Keenan Allen, Mike Williams.
Mike.
They lost some pieces.
Josh Kelly. At one
Rashawn
point, Josh
Slater.
Kelly was pretty hot.
Josh Kelly,
and then he
Rashawn
got hurt.
Slater. Yeah, they lost a couple of pieces last year. Health is going to be key for this Chargers team, especially with kind of the offense and the players that they have on both sides. So that's going to be interesting. Health is going to be key for these guys this year. If they can stay healthy, the sky really is the limit for this team, but it's just health. Health is going to be key for these guys. Dan, what let's do a couple of maybe storylines that you're looking forward to camp. Give me one right now.
I think the most important thing I'm looking at coming into this camp is how is Zion Johnson and Jamari Sawyer gonna
Going with the Hogs.
I have to. You already know me. I'm a line guy. That's the one I'm most interested to see, because we met a NFL. He's a center and guard right now for the Bucks, but in college he played tackle. I asked him what was the number one difference or like the hardest thing to adjust to when you went from tackle to the inside. He said space alone, because it's like we've talked about, when they're out there as a tackle, to use, Muhammad Ali and boxing as an analogy, Ali was known for his length. He could keep guys away from him. It wasn't like it wasn't as intimate, and you have a little more time on the edge to do things, right? Inside, you have to be, Mike Tyson, Iron Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet. You have got to be violent, and it's not the same. The body types aren't the same. The spacing isn't the same, because obviously, like we've talked about, when you play tackle, you have 3 to 5 kick steps. When you play guard, you might have 2, 3 max, or else you're in the quarterback's lap. And it's going to be interesting to see how he adjusts to that, because, I don't want to say it's a difficult transition, but I mean, you have to have the right, mental fortitude, the right, physicality for it. And not everyone can do it. Like, it's not easy. Like, don't believe anyone who tells you, oh, anybody can play offensive line. No, you can't. I still say it's the hardest position to play in football. So that's the one I'm looking forward to. Zion Johnson shouldn't have as much of a hard time switching. Because I mean, it's just right to left. But some guys have that mental barrier. We've already seen from Bussin' with the Boys. Taylor Lewan's talked about that if anyone's going to reach out for him, the only thing he plays is left tackle, because he's been tried out at right tackle at times, but he was garbage. And he even admits this, but he's like, for whatever reason, when I'm on the left, I'm on fire and I'm good and this and that. Some guys have that mental barrier. And it's like, so that's going to be the most interesting thing to me, because Jamar Sawyer last year, very well. You almost didn't know you missed an all-pro tackle last year. He did very well. Zion did very well. And it's like, now, kind of getting Slater back, moving Sawyer inside, having Zion there also. It looks like a pretty formidable offensive line. Trey Pipkins, very serviceable last year. Did not look like he did in years past, where we were like holding our breaths out there that he was out there. And so that to me is going to be the biggest camp battle, because in camp, he's going to have some pretty solid opponents. He's going to go up against Sebastian Joseph Day. He's going to go up against, I can't believe I'm blanking on him. Morgan Fox, Austin Johnson, Tito, I think his name is Tito. Abanya. Yeah, he's going to have some.
And then one guy that you're really excited about.
The Boise guy.
Yeah.
A couple free agents.
Scott Madlock.
Yeah,
Scott Madlock.
Yeah, Scott Medlock, yeah. So, I mean, he's going to have some challenges out there. I'm just glad we're not going to have some former first-rounder getting locked up by third or fourth string offensive line.
You can say it now.
That's going to be refreshing that Jerry
you can say it.
Not there anymore. But, so that to me.
Are you going to miss him?
Come on, Frown. I'm not trying to bury people today. I'm in high spirits. When I'm in low spirits, I'll bring all that stuff out. But so that to me is going to be the most interesting battle. How is he going to do moving from outside inside? Because like I've said, Frown, and I hope everyone will forgive me, long story short, you're not facing, the kind of Joey Bosa slender but powerful guys. You go inside, you're going to get the freaking Chris Jones. I think he's probably close to 300 pounds, if not 300 pounds. You got, Vita Vea, absolute different body types. So I think that's going to be a very tough transition. Hopefully he's up to the task.
Obviously, that's going to be a different thing to watch. I think the Chargers finally have one of the best offensive lines since probably Marcus McNeil, Nick Hardwick, Mike Goff, Shea Olivier, Chris Dealman? I think that's their best offensive line since as of right now. Obviously, we'll see how it progresses in camp.
Week 1, it all starts.
But I think definitely they have a good offensive line like that. It'll be interesting to see kind of how they go moving forward. But obviously, since Brandon Staley got here, it's been about protect Justin Herbert. You need to protect Justin Herbert, and that's what the Chargers are trying to do. They're trying to protect Justin and obviously get him pieces. But Dan, when we spoke to Corey Linsley, he said we sucked last year again, opening it up for the run. We're going to need to do better than that this year because we need to run the football more consistently. We need to do more running the football. We need to be able to open up holes for Eck, for Joshua Kelly, for all those guys. So definitely going to be interesting to see how the offensive line performs, how they do. But one area on offense that I'm going to be looking at is Quentin Johnston. I'm interested to see kind of what he's going to bring to this offense. I think he's on a podcast and he said that he was told by the coaches that he's going to be a starter this year, that he already won the starting job or something like that. So that means that he already overtook Joshua Palmer. But I mean, there's no reason for him to lie, but I think that's kind of what he right around along the lines of what he said. So I mean, there's big expectations for him. I'm sure Joshua Palmer is going to have – that's – okay, not just him. I guess I'm looking at the receivers as a whole. What are they going to look like? Because Darius Davis, he was a guy drafted in the 4th round from TCU. They after the draft, they said he's just a returner. But the way I saw how electric he was and everything in college, I have to think that they're going to use him as maybe a gadget player here and there, maybe some end-arounds, maybe some different things with him because his speed is just – it's incredible. He looks like the Flash out there. So, so definitely, you would think that you could
use him for screens. You could use him to get open over the middle and get some yaks. Like that's the thing. It's like we talked about this when they drafted him. I don't understand really wholeheartedly the mentality of drafting those type of guys and kind of locking them into a prison of only returning, if that makes sense. Like I thought DeAndre Carter last year, as soon as he started using him at receiver, I was like, where's this guy been? They should have been using him when Mike and Keenan were healthy, because it's like you bring a different dynamic with it. And that's I think the biggest problem sometimes. It's like we've talked about KYP, know your personnel. And when you have these things, you can always, it's okay. It's okay to give defenses different looks of different receivers out there. They don't have to be the same at all times. Like, not only do you have to change up your formations, well, obviously talking about the men's league, but you can use those type of guys to switch it up on the defense, because if you got several burners out there at the same time, maybe one route running type, then you clear out with the speed, you use the route runner to get open, and boom, you got yaks right there because it clears them out of the way or whatever. So that's the only thing I just don't understand, because, I thought DeAndre Carter last year did an excellent job. I think when Mike and Keenan went down, he might have been our best dang receiver and the most consistent one. You could tell Justin trusted him. So it's like when you get those guys, I wish they would at least try and – I don't understand why, people are so against working guys in. You know what I mean? Like in basketball, you see it. People will get 2 or 3 minutes, see what they got, and then if they didn't like the way they performed, they just leave them on the bench the rest of the game. I think it should be the same way. Work him into a few formations, see what he's got. You don't like it, put him on the bench, but at least you gave him reps. That's why I don't understand why people are so against reps. You know, you draft Isaiah Spiller last year, and he was supposedly, contending for the second back and this and that. Then I don't think he got any reps this year. So it's just mind boggling to me sometimes that type of stuff.
Yeah, no, I know, and I mean, I think they will work him in. I think he'll do some stuff with the offense, so it'll be interesting to see the way they use him. But to be honest, I mean, I have a lot of questions about the receiving group. I mean, behind Keenan, Mike, and Quentin Johnston, just because you look at it and you have Joshua Palmer, you have Jalen Guyton, Darius Davis, a guy that I remember I saw a lot of during minicamp and all that stuff. Was Keelan Doss out of UC Davis. He's, I think, a second or third year player. He's a receiver. He had a couple of good catches. Another guy that I wanted to really see during camp, but obviously he's starting off on the football illness list is Pokey Wilson. Pokey Wilson's out of Florida State. He made some really good grabs during minicamp, and he's starting off in the illness. So I don't know what's going on with him. We'll find out more when we talk to Brandon Staley on Wednesday. But that's what I'm wondering, is Jalen Guyton going to be back? Because I know he had been he tore his ACL last year, week 3. When we saw him he didn't do anything during minicamp or any of that. He was working off to the side. Now what's he going to do now that he is or is he now fully healthy? Is he ready to go for training camp? We don't know that yet. Joshua Palmer didn't really work out either during minicamp. He was off to the side. So is he ready to go? So all that stuff is gonna be interesting with the receivers. The receivers is gonna be an interesting group because I think honestly on paper the Chargers have one of the best receiving groups in the NFL if they can stay healthy. And I'm really interested to see kind of what these guys are gonna be moving forward. But they're definitely an interesting team with the receiving group. I mean, Keenan, Mike Williams, and Quentin Johnson alone, that's already a lot of firepower. Joshua Palmer had almost 800 receiving yards last year, and he caught a couple of long touchdowns. The one long touchdown I can remember was that 50-yarder against the Chiefs in LA. So the receivers are one group that I'm gonna be taking a look at for sure. Dan, do you have another group that you're gonna be taking a look at?
I think 100% the most important thing they need to figure out in this damn camp is who the hell the second running back is going to be. Because we saw last year, Kelly was very productive. He had some good games. He was putting his best foot forward a few times in a row. Then it's like he randomly gets hurt. Then he kind of heals up, tries to come back, but it was never the same after that. So I think the inconsistency back there, I think, is really hurting this team because it's like we've talked about, and it's nothing against Austin Eckler. I think he's an excellent player. He does his job very well, but it's like you need to have a bruiser. Like I still believe Eckler's best years was when Melvin Gordon was there. Maybe not statistically and everything else, but you could tell there was a different flow in the game when one or the other would enter in. It's like Melvin Gordon would come in. Obviously, like everybody might comment about the fumbles and all that stuff, but when he was doing his job correctly, he was wearing down the defense. He was bruising them. Then it's like when Austin Eckler came in, well, they were so compact and trying to combat the run that it's like then he can get open. He was at receiver and do other things like that. I think that's what you need long term, not only to I guess be more productive or whatever else, but to ensure that Austin Eckler doesn't take the whole carries the whole season, because that's going to wear him down and everything else, and that could really be a detriment to the team later in the year. Because like I said, like you've got to I still am a huge believer where you got to have kind of two backs who are productive of different running styles and different body types. That way it's just a different look, and you can wear down the defense, and then you can, after they're tired and everything else, you use the speed, turn on the speed. That way they can't catch up to you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, Dan. Obviously, Joshua Kelly, Isaiah Spiller, Larry Roundtree, those guys will be in the mix. They also have some undrafted guys that will be in the mix for sure. Especially because, I mean, they need to find out what's going on, what's all that, like who are going to be the guys, who's going to stand out. Because I'm telling you, even one of these undrafted guys that are there, Tyler Huseman out of North Dakota and and Elijah Dotson from Northern Colorado. That guy, I saw somebody tweeted out a highlight tape of his, and I was pretty impressed with him. I just don't know if it'll translate, but he's from Northern Colorado, which is obviously Austin Eckler went to Western State Colorado.
Shout out.
This guy went to Northern Colorado, so it'll be
Shout out.
interesting to see if one of these guys can do something. But
And the most important thing,
yeah.
just going back to it for now, real quick, you need to give guys reps. Like if you think, some of these draft picks or whatever, you've got to give them reps, because if you don't give them reps, how do you expect to know? You can't know just basically only off of what you see in practice. You got to have, especially because last year you saw like DeAndre Carter probably before Mike and Keenan went down had 0 reps at receiver. Then all of a sudden you throw them in and you expect them to be something. You know what I mean? And it's like, at least if you give them, small amounts of reps, someone goes down, then it's like, okay, they at least have a feel to the game, if that makes sense, or to the speed or whatever it is. Like, that's my only thing. I think they need to start working in, giving these guys some reps, just because, and I mean, who knows? Maybe they're just not earning them from practice or whatever. But
well, it's just because of how explosive Austin is. But you know what? I think that might come back. Austin split out at receiver. I think that might come back.
I don't know why
maybe another back.
Yeah.
Maybe another back in the backfield. That'll definitely help. It'll be interesting to see kind of what Kellen Moore does with this.
The
but
difference,
moving along. Now going over to the defensive side. Dan, Kenneth Murray is going to be very interesting to me. He's going into his 4th year. The Chargers just drafted a linebacker, and another thing they were like, oh, Dayon, oh my God, Henley, my bad. Dayon Henley. They're like, oh, we really like him for special teams and all that stuff. But I'm like, okay, but his athleticism, everything else that he brings, they're going to use him on the defensive side. But it's just going to be interesting to see how much has he understood, how much has he caught up to, how he moves in training camp. Could he catch up? And because he's very athletic, and you saw the film, he said, I've played safety, I've played this, I've played that. He's played multiple positions, so we understand. He sees, and that's what Brandon Staley said. Henley sees the field differently because he's played multiple positions. So if he starts getting in there, and let's just say maybe starts forcing fumbles or coming up with good tackles or maybe causing interceptions, he could end up taking a spot. But I'm not saying that he's going to take
Kenneth Murray's spot.
But what I'm saying is that the guy is talented. He's very good. And Kenneth is grown. He's grown a lot from his rookie year to his 2nd year to his 3rd year. I think he has your stop raising the eyebrow. I really do think that Kenneth has grown, and I think he's gotten better. I mean, is he on par to like a former 1st-round draft pick? He's not. But as a player, I think he has grown. I think he has made better plays. He's made better decisions. But there are times where he does kind of he doesn't make the best decisions, or he makes the wrong choice or something like that. Which, I mean, it's going to happen. But I think he has improved.
If nothing else, it'll be a good camp battle, and that's what you need. You need some of these guys competing. Not everything's sweet around here, fellas, in the men's league. Like, your ass will cut if you're not cutting par, unless you're a 1st-round pick. Then we hang on to them too long. But that's the only thing. It's like the camp battles are going to be very crucial, because that's where you're going to kind of find out what kind of team you have and if we're competing and everything else. So I'm all for camp battles. Hopefully these guys are getting after it, because, obviously there's only 53 spots or whatever. And that, more than anything, I think Kenneth Murray needs a good camp battle, because everyone was pretty upset, I think it's fair to say, when Drew Tranquil wasn't re-signed. So it's going to be interesting now that they kind of brought this guy, another linebacker, in. Hopefully, we'll see what he can do. At least a good camp battle to get him motivated and pushing himself.
I agree. Dan, let's move on to free safety. Alohi Gilman, JT Woods, AJ Finley, Mark Webb, even a guy like Tyler Baker Williams. They're all going to be in the mix for that starting spot next to Derwin James. Yeah. Obviously, there's fans that are like, well, what about John Johnson? A lot of people have been asking about John Johnson. And the funny part is, like, Sebastian Joseph Day, Morgan Fox just took a picture with him like a couple of weeks ago. So everybody's like, oh my God, bring him to the Chargers. I think I think the coaches are happy with Alohi Gilman. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not going to sign him or bring somebody else in. I don't know, but I know that Alohi has shown glimpses of being able to play well, or being able to step up to that position. He last year against the Cleveland Browns, he got an interception in the red zone that stopped them from scoring and taking the lead. A couple of 2 years ago, he got a clutch interception at the end of that Chiefs game
Yeah.
where he was.
They're gonna say 2 years, Frau.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Well, last year he did well
I
against
know. I'm just
Tyreek
giving you
Hill,
a hard
and
time.
he showed, like I said, he's shown glimpses.
Yeah.
The defense
Yeah.
kind of looked better when he was in there. When Nas, I know Nas was benched, or he didn't play in some of those games, but in those games that Alohi started, the defense looked better than with him in it. So it's going to be interesting, but that's going to be a position that I definitely am going to keep an eye on. Safety, what are the rotations looking like? Who could play there? Because JT Woods was a 3rd-round draft pick and out of Baylor, and everybody was very excited about him. He last year he only played in, I think, the Cardinals game, and that was on special teams. So that'll be interesting to see kind of what he does. Mark Webb, obviously, he's barely played as well. So we'll see, but safety position is going to be interesting.
And it's going to be crucial too, because I think a problem has been they have not been able to find somebody to work well with Derwin, because if you have to essentially leave Derwin back there because you can't trust the other safety or whatever else, that's going to very much limit, what you want to do on defense, because one of Derwin's biggest strengths is that he's all over the field. He'll be at linebacker, he'll be outside, he'll blitz, he'll cover. And it's like, if you go back and if you become one-dimensional because you can't trust the other safety, I think that's going to be to the detriment of the team. So that's going to fairly be interesting to see who they put out there next to him.
Yeah, and obviously this is going to be Derek Ansley's first year as the
DC,
as the defensive coordinator. So very interesting to see kind of how he does. Obviously Brandon Staley said he will still be calling the plays. I remember we asked him I've been the one that has asked him, and he said, yeah, I'll still be calling the plays. So that'll be interesting to see kind of how that goes moving forward. It'll be interesting to see who has the green dot. I know last year they started off with Derwin, then Drew kind of took over that. Obviously Drew's not here. Eric Kendricks is going to be an interesting one, Dan, too. Also, Eric Kendricks, how does he fit in with this scheme? What does he bring to the defense? He can do a little bit of everything. He can go out and sack the quarterback. He can catch interceptions. He's a guy that can do a lot of different things. So I think Eric Hendricks is a guy that I think the spotlight will be on, see what he adds to this defense. Obviously the Chargers 2 years ago, Kaiser White was gone. Now Drew Tranquil's gone. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how this team, how this defense is this year, especially with him. And then lastly, JC Jackson, what's he going to be able to bring? Is he going to be ready? I know June 19th, he had that appointment with the doctor. We haven't heard much from him. We haven't heard anything from him saying anything about it or anything like that. But I'm interested to see kind of what is going to happen with him. Is he going to be the starting corner? Is it going to be him and Michael Davis? Is it going to be him and Asante Samuel Jr.?
That's another big question.
Yeah. What's the cornerback going to be? Because I think Asante Samuel Jr. is in for a big season, Dan. I think that those 3 interceptions we saw against Jacksonville, I think that's just something to come. Man, and I know there's something there. But, I mean, obviously, I don't want to get into family things, but he just reminds me so much of his dad. He just he plays like him. He moves like him. Yeah, exactly. So those are some things that Dan and I are going to be interested to see. Oh, we didn't even mention this, the kicking situation, Dan.
That's right.
Dustin Hopkins, is back. He'll be going up against Cameron Dicker, the kicker. So that is going to be interesting to see kind of how that goes. Dustin was obviously very good for the Chargers 2 years ago. Even last year, he hit that game winner against the Denver Broncos, and then he went down for the rest of the season. Dicker came in and he really solidified his spot. He took over. He had a couple of game-winning kicks. So that kicking situation, that's going to be something I'm really going to keep an eye on, because They didn't bring in another punter. I'm sure that they're very happy with J.K. Scott, but it's going to be interesting to see kind of what this team is going to look like this training camp. But training camp is here, Dan. The excitement is there.
Yeah, for real. Do not forget also any questions, comment, concerns. Read the comments. Let us know. You already know I read them all, so get it in there. We'll shout you out and try and answer your questions. Obviously, see us around training camp. Don't be a stranger. Just bump fists, say what's up, and it'll be a good one.
Dan will be there on Wednesday at training camp. He might be donning the cowboy hat. We don't know yet. But definitely stop by.
All places. Just giving up everything. Giving up everything.
Make sure you guys stop by and say hi to Dan. He should be there. You'll see him. He'll be the one with a notebook out and taking notes. After Wednesday, though, Dan and I will jump on here and we will give our thoughts on the first day. I know it's not padded or anything, but still, we'll give our thoughts and see how everything went.
Yeah, I'll be able to call it a snooze fest because I don't give a rat's ass until the pads and contact comes on.
So, but Dan and I will be there, I'll be there every single practice, but Dan will be there on. Yeah, Dan will be there on Wednesday. Trying to convince him to go on Thursday as well. Chill. Definitely he'll be there Wednesday. So make sure that you guys say what's up to him. Say hi to me. We'll all be there. But and make sure you guys check out my stuff. I'll put it on Twitter. And obviously go to the Sporting Tribune and check out the stuff that I'll have on practices, all the battles that are going on, stories.
Like the battle. Fernando versus the Sun. Will he find the shade? Stay tuned. You'll find out on this week's episode of What's Up, Bolts.
So definitely make sure you guys check everything out. We will be back on Wednesday, but thank you guys for checking out this preview of Chargers training camp. Don't forget, obviously, anything COMPAS related. We got gear. We got a website, COMPAS on the beat.com, COMPAS on the beat merch.com. Make sure you guys go check that out. Make sure you guys check out regular COMPAS on the beat. We'll have some interesting stuff heading into training camp as well. Make sure you guys check out everything else. House of Horns. Make sure you guys check out Combat COMPAS. Make sure, especially with the breaking news we got today, make sure you guys are tuning in to COMPAS. The breaking news that we heard over the weekend. Make sure you guys are tuning in to COMPAS FC because
you are not going to want to miss that.
Ahora sí va en serio. Ahora seguro. Tic-tac. 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 Empezamos.
Mbappe in Madrid? Mbappe in Madrid?
Yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, COMPAS FC will have you covered if any breaking news does happen concerning Kylian Mbappe.
He's going to be so mad because they're going to be a direct rival to his Manchester City. He's not going to be happy.
We'll check that out. But we appreciate you guys so much for checking it out again. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. Again, What's Up Bolts is back. We're not going anywhere. We're back after that little hiatus.
It's been a slow off season.
Exactly. From now until the end of the season, whenever that is, Dan wants to say that the end of the season.
Yeah, I was about to say, look how he says it with a smile, like he knows.
No. It'll be.
He says it with a smile, like he knows something.
What's Up Bulls will be going until until Las Vegas, until the Super Bowl. If the Chargers are there, who knows? That's up to you, Dan. That's going to be.
It's up to me. If this was man in career mode, I would have already have done way more than what the Patriots have done. That's for sure.
And folks, do not forget, we get to 1,000 subscribers. One lucky viewer will be going. We'll be having lunch with Dan and Daygo, alcohol not included. We appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much. Have a great week. And don't forget, if you guys are at training camp, make sure you say what's up to your compas. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.